Everyone, welcome to my art studio. I'm Sally Davis and I'd love you to join me for a personal studio tour. Currently I have a solo exhibit of 50 paintings on display at Maryland Hall in Annapolis called Vantage Point. This is the invitation, and you can see that the dates for this are right the way through the pandemic, February 20th to May 23rd, 2020. Consequently, the Maryland Hall building is closed due to the pandemic. My paintings can now only be seen through a video tour posted on the Maryland Hall website, so check out the link below. So please explore my paintings through this short 6-minute video made just hours before the building closed down. The title Vantage Point seems very appropriate given our new stay-at-home guidelines. And I hope that people will have a chance to see these paintings, even from the vantage point of their own comfy chairs at home. And if you're curious to see how I paint, check out my short time-lapse painting videos, and the link should also be down below. Originally, the gallery had planned for me to do a gallery walkthrough and a demo at Maryland Hall, but since that is not possible any longer, they suggested a personal studio tour. So here I am. Let's get started. I'm going to start with, we're going to turn around so that you can see my computer screen. And I'm just going to adjust it so you can see. The painting. So this is the image for my painting. I'm just going to roll around. And because Maryland Hall Gallery was such a large space and I had 2 years to prepare, it meant that I was able to include 50 paintings and 4 different themes in this exhibit. So I'm just going to quickly show you some of the paintings that are actually currently in the exhibit. I have some images that I can show you. This one is called Saturday Morning. It's a large painting, and it's part of the first series of the 4 series in this exhibit. And this first series is all landscapes, looking from high vantage points from different scenes around the world and across the U.S. And there are 14 large canvas of paintings in this exhibit on the landscapes. And in this one, it's called Saturday Morning, and it was from again, you've got the long shadows, and I love the warmth, but I was intrigued by this grouping of 3, the dog and the 2 owners or parents, and the empty chair could sort of represent somebody who's going to join them. It could be the viewer joining them. A friend of mine suggested that a good title for this might have been Squirrel, since that dog is obviously very eager to be chasing something just out of sight of the camera. So the next painting I've got up here is also part of this landscape series. It's called Pompidou Promenade, and I was trying to arrange the figures to kind of be sort of musical. And all those little birds, I loved all these little, how the shadows and the birds kind of worked with all the people. And of course your eye is kind of drawn to that single figure. Everyone else is a couple, and there's just this one person all by himself. This one's called Row of Benches, and I had taken a lot of photographs looking down from Bath Abbey Tower in England, and I just loved how the light cut through these benches with people sitting on them, and you can see so much of the patterns along here. There's even a family. You can see there's a mom pushing her baby in the baby carriage and then holding on to the hand of a sibling next to her, but you can't see them. They're off the out of sight of the canvas, but or the image, but they're there still. And here's another part of this series too, of a man walking his dog. So that's one series in this exhibit. The second in this exhibit is my Skateboard Series, and there are 8 canvases in this series that are on display at Maryland Hall. And these are all inspired by my husband, who skateboards. and I traveled with him to different skateboard parks in Maryland, him to skate and me to sketch. And so this is a different kind of style than the landscape ones. I was doing printmaking, and I was trying to explore how color and shape could create the excitement and movement on, so this one's called Kickflip 360. This one's called Catching Air, the big kickflip. And this one's called Airwalk. This last one is a very, very large canvas. It's 4 feet by 2 feet. And this is just a small part of the image, but you can see I was really working to try and get the color to create a excitement and movement within the, and again, you can see the printmaking that I've put on top of the canvas. So the third series in this exhibit is my my portraits, and this one is of my daughter Piper, called Almost 21. This one's called Reluctant. It's a self-portrait. You can tell I really would much rather be painting somebody else than myself, but it was done for an exhibit that was about artists' self-portraits. So that's what kind of forced me to do that. And this one is a painting. These are large paintings, by the way. These are all 36 by 36 and on canvas. And this one is called Dazzling Geneva at 90. This woman, Geneva, is a friend of mine, and I met her through my aerobics class. She turned 90 in February. And she was a regular in the aerobics class. She'd set up her stuff in the front of the class, and she'd do the jumping jacks with everybody else. And I had no idea that she was 90 years old, but she's fit and trim, and she's always upbeat and cheerful. And I certainly hope I have become like that when I'm her age. She's a real inspiration. So the fourth series or theme of this exhibit has the most paintings. There's 17 of them in this exhibit, and I was given permission to observe the dancers in the rehearsals at Maryland Hall. So these paintings are based on these sketches, and yes, I did feel a strong connection to Degas as I worked on these paintings. So again, I'm using a mixture of painting directly on the canvas and layering with printmaking that I've done, monoprint, and trying to get the excitement and the movement from the ballet. So this one's from the ballet Sleeping Beauty, Chakra, from the Firebird, and Nightfall. Which were all ballets that were performed at Maryland Hall, and this last one is the Ethereal Dance of the Cosmos, which is actually a larger painting. It's the largest painting in the ballet series, and I felt I wanted to express how joyful and just that lightness of being, that when you see ballet dancers dancing, you want to be able to dance like them. The joy that they have when they're dancing. Anyway, so that was the dancing series. So that was that. So okay, so let me show you around my studio. I'm going to switch it over to holding it, and you can see that is where my computer is. And the computer is in a shelving unit that contains a lot of boxes of canvas, all organized, and there's frames, metal frames put together. There's frames already, tiny frames for miniatures. Down here I have, actually these are cloth bags that I make out of recycled bed quilts, And so I make them to different sizes, and I have a lot of them. I used every single one of them to transport all my paintings to Maryland Hall for this solo show. There's that many paintings in this exhibit, so it was quite a lot of work. And here we have the studio cat. Her name's Miss Lucy. And let me see if I can get her to say hi. Hey, Lucy. You want to say hi? She said, why are you disturbing me from my nice sleep? When I was organizing my studio, she hopped up onto this shelf when it was empty and sort of claimed it as her own. So sometimes she sleeps and curled up on the blanket, and sometimes she sleeps on the shelf. So I labeled her shelf Miss Lucy. So she's got her own shelf in my studio. So we're just walking around here. So next to Miss Lucy, we have a shelving unit here. It's got books in it. It's got, we've got water containers, staplers, all sorts of paper clips and rubber bands, all my tools for framing and cutting mats. I did I took a stained glass workshop last year and started doing stained glass, and this is what I did from last fall. So coming around to my drafting table and up on the wall here, this is actually one of the first paintings that I did with the landscape series with the long shadows. And so I think it was like 2013 I started doing that series. And then there's one of the ballet series. It's the only one that's left that isn't in Maryland Hall currently. And all my paints are laid out. These are my acrylic paints because I'm going to be working on some acrylic paintings. When I do my watercolors, I put all the acrylics away and then pull out all my watercolor paints and start on that. Underneath here is a paper cupboard that I made, and you can see it looks kind of messy, but it is organized. It's got my watercolors that are finished on top and organized by size and theme, and then I've got mat board and watercolor paper, my printmaking papers, and some mats down there too. And if we come over here, I can open up this door, and this is my my closet for keeping all my supplies. And I don't know whether you can see there's some of my paint smocks, foam core, let's see what else. Also supplies for my teaching, my classes. Yeah, lots of supplies for teaching classes. You can see them all, see it all there. So anyway, so out of this closet, we go back into the main room, and you can see over here, around. So there's my drafting table, and from next to my drafting table, there's another shelving unit, again with lots and lots of boxes of oil paints, oil pastels, printmaking stencils that I've made, my sewing things, and actually this here is my my wheeled table. I've got wheels on the bottom of it. You can see it there. And this is nice because I can move this table around to wherever I'm working in the studio. And currently I'm actually sewing with it, so I'm using my sewing. So it actually pulls away from this shelving unit, which has got sewing supplies and watercolor stuff below. So anyway, this is a table that can be moved around. So as I'm painting, I can put my paints there, or my brushes, or water to rinse off, and I can move it around when I need it. So currently this is just got my sewing stuff on because I am making masks for hospitals and nurses and things like that. So people on the front line. So anyway, that's my little sewing machine. As we go around over here next to that big cupboard storage shelving unit, there's a smaller one. This smaller one is for all my smaller papers and small frames, or sorry, mats. Colored papers, different sizes and stocks of paper. And oh, just up on the top here, you'll see a painting that I did, or a picture I did probably when I was in first grade. I don't know whether you can see that, but it's got Max and his boat, Where the Wild Things Are. My parents kept that. All right, so this in the corner here is my easel that I use for my my painting on canvas. See it? Oh, it's going to focus. And I'm working on a piece right now from the Whitney Museum, looking down from the top floor again with lots of shadows. So that's what I'm working with this one. And next to that, there's a painting on the wall. This is a watercolor I did from a photograph that my parents had in their album that was a tiny black and white picture. And I blew it up really big and added color to it as I did the watercolor. The thing that intrigued me most about it is the size of the hands. Like when you look at the dad's hand, my dad's hands, and then the baby's hands next to them, there's such a large contrast. That was what really appealed to me about this picture. And next to the wall, sometimes when I want to remind myself to do something, I'll stick on some reminders on the wall. These are printmaking pieces that I really like, and I'd like to do some more of them. So this is just stuck on the wall to remind me to do that. In the corner, there's a big painting I'm working on. It is probably the largest painting I've worked on yet. So it's a little bit, it's just got the underpainting on right now, but soon it'll have people and some nice shadows on it as well. And in the corner here, with my printmaking overlapping over top of my, oops, flipped it around. There we go. I'm just trying to enlarge it here. So this is small, it's only 6 by 6, but it's kind of like a sample for my bigger canvases, just to see what the painting will, just to test out some colors and patterns and things. But they're fun to do, and it gives me a chance to experiment without doing it on the huge final canvas. Another stained glass, I did that in January with a stained glass class. Over here, this is my watercolor easel. And I have 2 easels, so this one's a little bit more flat. It can still be moved up and down, but it's a little flatter. And my canvas is more upright over in that corner. So on the wall over here, let's see if we can see. Okay. So the one on the top, let's see if we can pull it in. That's one of the older, my older long shadow paintings. There's my little cat when she was a kitten. I was having fun with the background and trying to make it sort of like coppery with that copper color. On the top here, this is a watercolor mosaic, and so basically what I do is I paint two watercolors, one warm and one cool, and then I chop them all up and reassemble them. So that's what my watercolor mosaics look like. This is a watercolor sketch from Ireland. And then further over on the last one is a painting, I believe, when I was in pre-K class. I don't know exactly when, but I think it's the star system. So we're kind of back at the beginning. We've got the computer here, my printer, file cabinet, another table, and back to my cat. And he's fast asleep. So anyway, I think that's pretty much the tour of my studio. And hope you'll take the time to do a virtual tour of my exhibit at Maryland Hall through the website and perhaps check out some of my time-lapse videos. I'd like to say a really big thank you to Emily Colstein and Katie Redmill, who organized and promoted my exhibit at Maryland Hall and who planned this virtual solo tour. And thank you to all of you for joining me today for this tour of my studio. If you'd like to say hi or you'd like to write to me in the comment below section. Stay safe, my friends. Bye-bye.